This is Casey, and I am one mellow marigold. Let's talk about dirt. Okay, so if you've been following along, hopefully you have already picked what you're going to try to grow this summer and what kind of containers you're going to grow in it. And now we get to talk about dirt. Dirt is my favorite. It is my absolute favorite part of gardening. Making your own dirt, growing things in dirt, putting your hands in the dirt, all of it is good. Oh, it smells so good. It is therapy for sure. But walking into a nursery or a big box store, there's a lot of options, right? And you might not know what's going to be best for what you want to plant. So I want to make that part really easy. By the end of this video, I want you to feel comfortable walking into that store and walking out with a bag of dirt that's going to meet your basic needs. Okay, so if we want a plant to grow out of the dirt, we got to help that plant along. Just like you would feed a dog or a baby, and we all need nutrients to grow, right? So this little blueberry plant is, over the course of the spring and summer, it's going to put on a lot of leaves. It's going to start growing blueberries that are going to taste amazing. But that takes fiber and minerals and nutrients. And that's why the plant puts roots down deep into the soil. So the only place this plant is going to get nutrients to grow that blueberry is to suck it up from out of the soil. So that soil has got to have some pretty good food in it. For those of you that are going to be growing using plant starts, meaning you're not going to be using seeds to get your plant started, when you get yourself to the nursery or your big box store, you get to go right to the aisle that contains bags that say potting mix or potting soil. They're going to say things like, for growing herbs, vegetables, flowers in containers, for container gardens, for container growing. Potting mix and potting soil are intended to be a one-stop shop for you to grow your plant in, meaning it already has compost that has been broken down over time. It already has minerals and nutrients all right in the soil. It's got all the ingredients that it needs to maintain a light texture, to be able to hold and allow water to drain easily. Don't make it hard on yourself your first time out. Get yourself a great bag of potting mix or potting soil. These are just happen to be two brands that I have used the most. They're just kind of what's available in my area, and both of these work amazing. But when you walk into that nursery, dude, gardeners love to talk about gardens. So hit somebody up at that garden store and they're going to point you in the right direction. But if you walk home with something that says potting mix or potting soil, you are going to be in great shape. All right, so let's have a little fun actually. I have opened up my bag of potting mix and I'm going to just plop some out on my little board here. Now take a look at the potting mix itself. As you see it crumble through my fingers, you can tell it clumps a little bit. There's definitely moisture in the soil. Look at the texture. Look at the texture and look at the different types of fibers and chunks and other pieces of organic matter that haven't quite fully decayed yet. This is a delightful potting mix. It's a nice, dark, rich soil. And when that soil is nice and dark like that, dark in color, you know it's got a lot of nutrients that are going to be available for your plant. When you have nice and healthy potting mix, you can put that little happy potting mix into its own little container. That's the container that you decided your plant's going to grow best in. When you take a horrible plant drawer, apparently. When you take your plant that you get from the nursery and you put it in your potting mix, that little plant's roots are going to start reaching out. They're going to dig their way through that pot, and the little roots that existed are going to get huge and big and healthy, and that plant is going to be able to put on even more and more growth and eventually flowers. Right? That's the goal. That is what you're going to do with your plant starts. Now, if you're somebody who wants to do this from seed, we got to take a second approach. Now, if you decide that you want to take a shot at planting from seed this year, you're going to have to pick up a second bag. And that is seed starting mix. Seed starting mix, again, this is just what is available in my local nursery. I have no affiliation with any particular brand. Seed starting mix is generally going to be made of something called cocoa coir, which is coconut coir, which is the fibrous leftover parts of the coconut after it's manufactured. Cocoa coir is amazing for starting seeds for several reasons. First, there's nothing to it. It's really light. It's really just fibrous material. There's almost no nutrient for that new plant whatsoever. Now, you might be wondering, if the potting mix is so great, why do I need a whole separate seed starting mix just to start seeds? Well, let me show you. This seed starting mix. And probably it's windy today, so a lot of this is going to start blowing away on me. Look at the difference in texture. Look at how light this seed starting mix is. It is almost entirely cocoa coir, and it is just light, very light in color, very light in weight. It doesn't have a smell the same way that potting mix is going to. Here's the fun thing about seeds. Seeds don't actually need a whole bunch of nutrients when you first plant them. Here's your little seed starting container. The seed itself generally has all the nutrients that that seed is going to need to grow a plant up to its first and second set of leaves. So I'm going to say that again because that's going to surprise a lot of people. The little bitty seed that you're going to plant in that mix already has all the food that it needs right within itself. Enough for it to grow one to two sets of leaves. So the seedling really doesn't need all of the nutrients in this potting mix because all it really needs is a little bit of stability and some light, easy dirt that little baby roots can start growing into to get it started. Once this grows up a little bit, we're going to need to start feeding it, but it doesn't necessarily need right away all the big nutrients that it's going to need from the potting mix later. As you become more experienced with gardening, as you try many different seeds, you'll start to learn which seeds are going to be easiest to direct sow into potting mix or outside soil, and which seeds really are always going to do better in a seed starting mix. For example, a really big seed, like a sunflower seed, can absolutely be direct sown into a garden bed, or it can go right into potting soil. It's a really big plant that's going to have a lot of nutritional needs right off the start. But the same sunflower seed can also be started in the cocoa coir, just the same, especially in those first couple of weeks, when again, it doesn't really matter what nutrients are in the soil itself. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Just to recap, if you're going to be purchasing your plants as starts, meaning they're already grown, you're going to go to your local nursery, preferably if you can, or your local big box store or your Dollar Tree, whatever is near you and on budget, and you're going to look for potting mix or potting soil. And when you open up that bag, it should smell amazing. Stick your face in it and smell it. It should smell earthy. It should have texture. It should have moisture into it. It should look like there's stuff in it, right? If you're also going to try starting your own plants directly from seed, you're going to need to grab that seed starting mix as well. Again, I do not affiliate with any of these particular brands. These are just ones that I have used before. Talk to your nursery. Talk to the folks that work there. There is nothing more fun than talking gardening with other people who just love gardening. They will be happy to answer any questions you have. And believe me, They have heard and seen it all. They know where you're starting from. So never ever be afraid to ask questions, okay? That is going to be it for today. Again, I am Casey and I am One Mellow Marigold. I hope this was helpful. If so, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear your feedback. I am a gardener in progress as well. I'm always learning and always trying new things. So I'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you want to come along my journey as well, please hit that little red subscribe button. It would help me out a lot. All right. I love y'all. Bye.